Welcome to the Deep Dive. We've got a fascinating stack of sources here today, detailing a journey into, well, animal communication. And honestly, it went places we really didn't anticipate.
That's putting it mildly.
Hey.
Yeah, the core source is this amazing conversation where someone, our listener apparently, decided to try and learn animal languages. Started with chickens, then ducks. Seemed straightforward enough at first.
Right. But our mission today is to unpack just how complex that got. We're talking trying to speak chicken, dealing with, let's call it avian attitude, finding some unexpected help, and then a reveal at the end that just changes everything.
It really does. Okay, so let's start with the chickens. The source material dives right into their basic communication, the sounds they make, what they generally mean.
Yeah, the fundamentals, like the gentle cluck cluck. That's the sound hens make, especially with chicks, or just when they're feeling all right, content. Kind of the baseline sound.
Exactly. It's like they're all clear signal. Safety, contentment. But then there's the flip side, the alarm calls.
Oh yeah, the bok, bok, bok. Sharp, loud. If you hear that, something's definitely up. Danger, maybe, or just startled. It's their alert system.
Definitely an alert.
Yeah.
And if things get really serious, like real fear or distress, the source mentions a harsher sound, almost like a growl or a really sharp squawk.
Leaves no doubt they're not happy. But it's not all panic stations, is it? They have happy sounds too.
They do, purring. Apparently, chickens make this soft rolling purr when they're super relaxed, maybe sunbathing, just totally chilled out.
Who knew? Little feathered purr machines.
It's a sign of real contentment. And then, of course, the most famous one, the rooster's call.
Ah, the cock-a-doodle-doo. More than just an alarm clock, though, based on the source.
Oh, absolutely. It's about territory. Announcing, I'm the boss here, staking his claim, warning off any rivals. It's pure dominance assertion.
Makes sense. His patch, his rules.
Yeah.
Now, the source didn't just list the sounds. It actually suggested trying to, well, imitate them.
Yeah, it got pretty playful. Mimic the rhythm of the clucks, try the sharp bok-bok, even attempt the purr. And it wasn't just sounds.
Body language, too. Tilting the head, finger pecking, even flapping your arms. That seems ambitious.
Well, the idea was to try and embody their whole communication style, not just the noises. So armed with this basic chicken vocabulary, the listener decided to translate something specific.
Something a bit more complex than hello. They wanted to say, I love you, in chicken.
Right. And the source proposed a specific sequence for this. Soft, cluck, cluck, purr, 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 purr.
Okay, so gentle clucks, that contentment purr, then more soft clucks. The idea being it's like a hen's way of saying, I care, calm, warm, friendly.
That was the theory, a kind of acoustic reassurance. But this is where the plan hit a snag, a rather large feathered snag.
The listener tried this lovely sequence and met the rooster instead.
Bingo, ran right into him. And he was, shall we say, less than receptive to expressions of affection from an outsider.
Ah, the rooster factor. The source has quite a bit to say about them, doesn't it? Territorial, protective.
Very much so. Described as the grumpy bouncers of the chicken world. They see their job as guarding the flock, guarding the territory, extremely seriously.
And they don't like strangers. Especially strangers trying to talk funny near their hands.
Definitely not. The source gives tips, actually, on how not to annoy a rooster. Stay calm, crucially. Don't make direct eye contact, that's a challenge. Use soft sounds, maybe watch the hens instead, they're usually calmer. And if he gets aggressive, just back away slowly.
De-escalation tactics for the coop. Sounds like that didn't quite happen here. The listener noted the rooster seemed to think he owned the place, basically, that rooster ego.
Oh, it's classic. They really strut their stuff. And this one seems to have interpreted the listener's presence, and maybe the sounds, as a direct threat or challenge.
The source even suggested a way to talk to a cocky rooster, like acknowledging his status. A soft cluck, cluck, maybe. Like saying, hey, boss, no trouble here.
Yeah, or a low coo or purr to show you're not a threat. Maybe even a quiet wing flap sound. But the main thing is no sudden moves, no staring. Just trying to signal, you're in charge, I'm harmless.
So how did this particular interaction end? Because the source says it had a lasting impact, a very noisy impact.
It certainly did. Apparently, after this encounter, the rooster started his cock-a-doodle-doo routine 3 hours earlier every single morning.
3 hours, wow. Why would he do that? What did the source suggest?
Well, the speculation is he felt challenged, like he needed to double down on asserting his dominance, prove he was still in charge, maybe reacting to the stress of the encounter. He basically cranked up his vigilance level to 11.
So the listener's attempt at saying, I love you, essentially resulted in a much earlier, much louder wake-up call for everyone. That's unfortunate.
It really highlights how tricky interspecies communication can be, right? Good intentions, but completely misinterpreted within their social structure.
Yeah.
Led to, well, sleep deprivation.
And the fixes suggested. Blocking out light,
Yeah.
distractions,
Hmm.
earplugs. That last one feels a bit like giving up.
Pretty much. It seems the rooster situation was becoming untenable. Direct communication wasn't really working out as hoped.
So, time for plan B. The listener decided to switch focus. Forget the chickens for a bit. Let's try the ducks.
A smart pivot, probably. The source describes ducks as having a whole different vibe. Generally more laid back, more tolerant, less caught up in the intense hierarchy, maybe.
Different sounds, too. Quacks, obviously, but also whistles and murmurs.
Yeah, the classic quack quack is just flock communication, keeping track of each other. But then there are softer whistles or peeps, especially between mothers and ducklings, or for contentment. Some honk when surprised. And they can growl if annoyed, but maybe not as readily as a rooster gets defensive.
Okay, so a different sonic landscape. Did the source offer a duck translation for I love you?
It did. A soft, gentle quack, quack whistle. That little whistle part seems key, adding warmth. Described as a little duck hug. Cute.
And the expectation was, this might actually work better, because ducks are more curious, maybe less suspicious.
That was the hope. More tolerant, less likely to see a weird sound as an immediate threat.
And did it work?
It seems so. The listener tried some basic quacks, and the source says the duck seemed friendly, receptive, progress.
Okay, a win. So, feeling confident, the listener went for something more ambitious.
Much more ambitious. They wanted to ask the ducks, essentially, can you tell that chick over there that I like her? Using the ducks as intermediaries to the chickens.
Wow. Okay, that's complex. Did the source have a duck phrase for that?
Apparently so. The suggested translation was quack, 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 whistle. Quack.
Let's decode that. Quack, quack, to get attention. Hey!
Exactly. Then the quack, quack, whistle part is the core message, like tell her something nice, with that friendly whistle. And the final quack is for emphasis. I like her.
Delivered with friendly intent, maybe a nod towards the chick.
That was the advice. Friendly tone, clear body language.
Yeah.
And this is where the story takes its next really weird turn.
Okay, I'm ready. What happened after they tried the duck matchmaking request?
After a few attempts, one of the ducks actually moved. It left the duck area and headed over towards the chickens.
No way. And the listener's reaction?
Immediate thought, according to the source, was, nice, that duck brought that chick I like.
So it worked. The duck understood and acted as a wingman. Wing duck, facilitated the introduction.
That was the initial interpretation, a kind of bizarre, successful instance of interspecies assistance. But then the listener clarified slightly.
Go on.
The follow-up statement was, no, that's my chick now. Implying the duck's action didn't just facilitate contact, it directly led to the listener acquiring the chick. It was framed as a sweet victory.
Acquiring the chick. Okay, so the duck moving was the key step for the listener to get what they wanted. But then there's another twist, isn't there? Right after this victory.
Yes. A sudden, quite revealing comment from the listener. Wait a moment, I am currently running.
Running. Running from what or who, given the rooster situation?
Exactly. You see a duck seemingly helping an outsider interact with or even take a chick. The rooster's reaction is probably predictable and likely involves chasing.
Which leads us directly to the final context-shattering line from the source, the big reveal.
The listener concludes with, okay, that rooster is gone. It's hard to be a fox sometimes.
A fox. The listener wasn't just some curious human. It was a fox trying to use animal communication.
The entire story flips, doesn't it? The rooster wasn't just grumpy. He was defending his flock from a literal predator. His aggression, the early crowing, it all makes perfect sense now.
And the ducks, their tolerance wasn't just general chillness. Maybe they just didn't perceive the fox's intent or threat level the same way. They became unwitting pawns in the fox's strategy.
Precisely. Their interaction, the movement of that one duck, became the key that unlocked the objective for the fox getting that chick.
And, okay, that rooster's gone. That sounds ominous. It suggests the conflict implied by the running didn't end well for the rooster, clearing the way for the fox.
It strongly implies the main obstacle was removed. And that final line, it's hard to be a fox sometimes, suddenly isn't just a throwaway comment. It's a genuine reflection on the risks and strategies involved in being a predator, navigating a defended territory.
So this whole deep dive, framed initially as learning animal languages, turned into a narrative of, well, predatory strategy. using communication attempts, observing behavior, exploiting species differences, the duck's tolerance versus the rooster's aggression, all to achieve a very specific goal, mastering coop diplomacy from a fox's perspective.
It's an incredible narrative arc. From basic clucks and quacks through rooster confrontations and duck manipulation culminating in this revelation, it just underscores the sheer complexity happening in nature.
Absolutely. The layers of instinct, communication, intended or misinterpreted, and the predator-prey dynamics playing out in ways we just don't normally see. The fox trying duck speak to get a chicken. It's wild.
It really makes you think about how much is going on beneath the surface. How these interactions, driven by survival and instinct, shape the world around us in hidden ways. That duck, playing matchmaker, had no idea what role it was playing in a much larger drama.
It wasn't just about language. It was about navigating an ecosystem with very high stakes. Which leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Something for you, the listener, to consider.
What other kinds of interspecies negotiations, strategies, or even collaborations, intentional or accidental, might be happening all around us, constantly, completely unseen? If a fox can attempt duck diplomacy, what else are we missing? How might understanding these hidden interactions change our whole view of the natural world? Something to chew on until our next deep dive.